You. Okay, I'm just gonna play it first, really slowly. It's the first part. It's the ragtime part. Woo! And then we're gonna go like this. Actually, I'm going to just, do the second line. So this is, let's see, how do I explain this? This is just kind of a lick, and you can do a lot of different variations of it. There's a lot of notes on the page, but let's go back and talk about it first. It'll make a little bit more sense. First of all, seventh chords. You have we're going to do this in C. You have C major, right? And then here's your C octave. If we go one down from an octave, this is called a major 7. Right? The interval, i.e. the space between the two notes, is called a major 7th. If I go down one more, this is called a minor 7th. The space between these two notes. Now, if I play a major triad, C major chord, and I put a major 7th interval on there, this is called a major 7 chord. If I put a minor 7th on there, we also call this flat 7. Out in the world, the real world, we call it flat 7. A major chord with a flat 7, this is called a C dominant 7, or normally I would just say C7. And if I play a minor chord with this flat 7, it's a minor 7. So in this tune, there are only dominant 7 and minor 7 chords. I believe there's a triad somewhere also. But what I want you to do is kind of go through from measure 13 on and figure out all those chords. And beware that they're almost all inversions. And you can always tell when a 7th chord is not inverted because of this stack. They're all just stacked right on top of each other, like the last chord on the last line of the first page. This last chord is a C7 in stacked position. If there's any of these little guys right next to each other, you know it's an inversion. So just figure out what all those chords are. Now, for this lick, okay, looks fancy. Kind of is. But all this happening. So it's a C7, and then it's an F major second inversion. So C7, F major second inversion, C major triad. And sometimes with the C7, you don't play that third. So it's this sort of like when you're doing this shuffle, one variation, up to the dominant 7. Right? That's an incomplete chord. If I add, it's and that's because it's down here in the muddy range. But if I add notes to it, I can go like this. Okay, so it's the same thing. But I'm adding this note, which completes the chord. It makes it C major to F major. So if I'm going, what this really is a chord progression. It's from C major to F major. And then if I went up there, I can go. So it's really a C7. And so what happened with piano players, they started playing this lick. Okay, so it's mimicking what you're doing in your left hand, but in a little different rhythm and with some extra notes, because when you go up higher, you can add more notes. So the way that this goes in the right hand is. then you can slide. You can slide with both fingers or one finger, and then you do it up here. And then G, F, and then you do it again. Same thing, okay? Now, you can do these little quick notes here in measure 10. Well, first of all, you can do it this way, or you can go the other way. Doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Nobody's gonna think less of you either way. So you can go. Oh, you can slide to that one too, but. Or I can go like this. This little GF is just kind of connects them together. I can mix them up. So it's just two licks with different variations, right? So I can go without the grace notes, or I can put grace notes just on the first one, or just on the second one, or just on this one, or not on this one and this one. I can slide with both of them or just one of them. You see, a bunch of different variations. So practice them all, you know, and then you'll find yourself making decisions on the fly, whatever you feel like playing. That's what happens. Now back to measure 10. This little fancy thing, right? This little guy. It's quick.
Yeah.
But it's just a C major chord. Just like in our waltz. That thing, that's just technically, I mean, on a spiritual, what is it? Theoretical level, it's very simple. It's a D, F, and an A, which is a D minor, D minor, D minor, D. That's it. But you do it really fast.
Yeah.
That's the difficult part about it. This is the same thing. It's just a C major chord. It's just like us going, right? But it's just a different way of playing it, right? And if you're really, when you hear all those crazy blues licks that people play, you know, with all the things in them.
Yeah.
It's at its root, it's not that deep. It's just hard to get your fingers to do it. Anyway, work on that. We gotta cut.